As entrepreneurs, so many of us are multi-passionate. We have a lot of interests, a lot of areas where we are knowledgeable in, and we can offer that and monetize that to other people. So whether you're just getting started on your entrepreneurial journey and you're trying to figure out how can I take what I already know and turn it into a profitable business, or you are someone who's already identified as an entrepreneur through a business, but you're multi-passionate. You want to expand your brand and your business to offer more services or more trainings or programs or whatever that may be to generate more income for your business. I have a free guide for you. It's called Turn Your Knowledge into a Profit. And what it is, it's a worksheet that's going to help you identify some areas that you're already very knowledgeable and skilled in that you could then monetize for your business. And then there's a guide in addition to the worksheet that's going to help you take that knowledge and then launch your online business with under an hour a day. So if you've got 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day that you can maybe work on your business, this guide is going to be perfect for you. Just go to thechrissychin.com/profit. Hey friend, welcome to the Badass is the New Black podcast, where our motto is done is better than perfect. I'm Chrissy Chin, here on a mission to help you grow your business online, turn your leads into lifelong customers, and scale to 6 figures and beyond so you can work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more. Most importantly, I'm a laid-back wife, a mom, a friend who started as a peds nurse, turned network marketer, and now a serial entrepreneur. This podcast is for ambitious people with an idea, a vision, but no idea how to get there. On this podcast, I'll give actionable steps to keep you moving forward while you learn new business strategies, better systems and processes, marketing, sales, all the things you need to build and scale a blissful business that keeps your pocketbooks growing. Grab a beverage, open up your notes app, and let's get to it. What's up today? I want to talk about your story. What is your story? How can you use your story? Why would you want to use your story to grow your business? I was recently doing a masterclass for all the ULA coaches out there. We just had Dave from ULA on the podcast a couple episodes ago, which was amazing and awesome. But we were talking about building your brand a little bit. That's how the conversation started, talking about being intentional, about developing your brand and understanding your brand, how you want to make someone feel, what your brand personality is. And it kind of led into this topic about your story, which I wanted to bring to you to the podcast today. And we talked about how your story is the one thing that you have that is completely unique to everyone else, right? Nobody else has your story. Even if you have an identical twin and you shared a bedroom growing up, like you had the same parents, you had maybe the same siblings, maybe you were even in the same class, but you are a different person. Even if you're an identical twin, you have different experiences. You feel things in a different way. You take things in through your particular filter and process them and use them. And you have a different story, right? There might be some similarities, but it's very different. And that is something that you can leverage to stand out. It's super noisy out there. There's millions and millions of people on social media. There's millions of people that have set up a business in the last year, maybe doing the same thing you are. Maybe you're a coach and you're doing the same type of high performance coaching or life coaching as other people, or you're in network marketing and you're selling the exact same products. So what do you have that other people don't have? Why and how you could attract someone to you versus them going and finding someone else. It's your story, right? It's also a way that you can connect with people. Connection is incredibly important. We talked about that. Claire and I talked about that when we did our little debrief on the retreat that we went to recently that Ashley Gordon hosted. And her big thing is creating this quantum connection. If you haven't listened to those episodes from a few weeks back, do that. Your story is a way for you to be able to connect with other people, a way for you to be able to get vulnerable. Now, I'm not saying that you have to share your deepest, darkest secrets. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you to use little pieces of your story to connect with other people. Okay? I've shared many stories on this podcast from my life with you. If you're new here, you can go back and listen. If you've been listening for a while, you've heard me share lots of stories. I've shared stories about my dad. I've shared stories about my divorce. I've shared stories about my transition from nursing into entrepreneurship. I've shared stories about my children. I've shared lots of different stories, and people will reach out to me and they will connect with me on some level. I've had several people reach out after mentioning that I was divorced. I was in a controlling marriage, and they'd reach out and they say, oh my gosh, I can completely relate to you. Not everyone can relate to that, but some people have, and they've connected with me. Or I've shared about my stories of being a nurse and how I felt being a nurse, and that transition of wanting to move into entrepreneurship and do something else and have time freedom and schedule freedom. And people will reach out to me and be like, hey, I'm a nurse too, and I'm pursuing XYZ, or I'd love to leave my nursing job as well, right? Because I've shared my story, we found these little pieces and these little ways to connect with other people. So when let's talk about creating content, because that's a big thing right now, right? Creating content, whether it's for your podcast or your blog posts or social media. Everyone has questions about creating content for social media. It feels so overwhelming. Let's first take a deep breath on that, okay? I did an episode recently as well on the trends in social media. And I kind of shared all these trends about what the experts are saying. I don't call myself a social media expert. I can tell you what I do and what works, but I looked at all of the things that they're saying and I shared those with you. And I have a feeling that you might have felt a little bit overwhelmed after you heard that podcast episode. If I told you, Brock Johnson is telling you to do 12 stories a day, and I didn't stress the fact that I don't do that. I think I did mention it, but I don't post every single day on my social media. And I have a really successful business. If you actually look at all the followers I have, I think I've shared this on the podcast as well, that I got sucked into doing one of those follow campaigns because I wanted that swipe feature before the little link was available, right? You needed 10,000 people to get that swipe feature. And I was like, yes, I want that. And I didn't necessarily want fake people on there. I just wanted that swipe feature. So I did one of those follow campaigns where it's a giveaway, and it's follow and follow these people and you'll get entered for a giveaway. And the person was only supposed to bring in X amount of followers, and they brought in thousands upon thousands of followers to my account. And I was literally had a meltdown, so much so that I gave myself a cold sore. I was freaking out about it. My social media is ruined. And it all turned out to be okay. But it might say I have 30,000 followers. I think before that, I only had 2,000-ish followers, and that's been years. So I've certainly probably collected another 1,000 real followers. So even if you look at that number, hopefully you don't think less of me, but no, it's not because I have 30,000 followers. I probably only have 3,000. Okay. And that's still a big number. You can have a super successful business with 500 followers or 1,000 followers. Okay. So we don't need to go for, these huge, massive numbers. I'm totally going off on a tangent here. Don't really even remember what I was talking about. We're talking about creating content. So I just shared some stories with you, right? Got a little vulnerable with you. Now you might judge me because I did one of those follow campaigns and have a bunch of followers, right? But the point is that you can, I know what I was going to say. I was going to say that when you're coming up with content, let's say you have a topic that you want to talk about. Maybe you're in the health and wellness space and you want to talk about hormones. Okay. Instead of creating some content that is just very scientific, this does this and that does that, and this how this is work. Not everyone resonates with that. Of course, if you have people that love to know the science behind things, you love to share the science behind things, that's great. But let's bring your story into it. So take your topic, hormones, and think of a story about you and your life when you were dealing with maybe an imbalance of hormones. and how it affected you. How did you feel? Were there things in your life that you weren't able to achieve because of this imbalance in hormones, right? And be thinking about your dream customer, your ideal client. What are they feeling right now? So many of you out there are literally, you were your dream client. So many about you out there doing network marketing, you got into the products because they helped you, or like you started selling the products because they helped you. And so you were really your dream client. You overcame that problem with the solution, which were your products, and now you can't help but share about them. Or maybe you're a coach, right? Like Claire and I teach people how to build a brand online and how to build their own website and set up amazing funnels through automation so that you can work less and enjoy more. I was once you, sitting in your shoes at the very beginning saying, what in the heck do I do? How do I get these people on my email list? How do I build a website, right? And now we teach that. So I was once you. You were once your dream customer. Or if you're a life coach, maybe things were falling apart and you got a coach and you realized, oh my gosh, we can make a change. We can make a difference. I just completely transformed my life with this coach. I want to be a coach now. Okay. So likely you do have stories deep down, go back many chapters and find that story that is relatable to what you want to talk about and bring that story in to sharing. So you can create that connection. Use your dream client's language. Talk about how they're feeling right now. Are they feeling stressed? Are they feeling anxious? Are they feeling hopeless? Are they feeling like, what is that feeling that is causing them to seek you out, to seek out those solutions, to hop on YouTube and say, oh, how do I, balance my hormones? So use that language that they're using. If someone's coming to you saying like, oh, I'm just feeling super overwhelmed with all of the things that I have to do for my business, and use that language. Hey, are you feeling super overwhelmed with all the things you have to do for your business? Or in the health and wellness space, I'm just feeling exhausted by, all the things that I have to do, and I don't have any energy and I'm not sleeping well. Use that language. Did you once feel that way? First of all, did you once feel that way? Right? Is this also how you felt? Share that in your story. Use that same language. I remember when I felt exhausted. I had so much on my to-do list. I was having panic attacks regularly. And then I did XYZ. Then I realized that there was more, fill in that story with them and then talk about desires. Talk about what you wanted. I wanted to live in a space where I woke up refreshed, where I wasn't dying to take a nap after I took the kids to school, right? I didn't want to I wanted to be in a space where I could drop them off and then come home and get to work and not feel like I needed to go back to bed. Or I wanted to get to a place where I didn't fall asleep putting the kids to bed so that I could spend more time with my partner, right? So describing the desires of your dream customer, but they're likely desires that you had too, and maybe you achieved. And so sharing those, and your audience out there will build this connection based off of the stories that you're sharing of where you were back here and now where you are now, right? And how you can help them. So your story is incredibly impactful. Curious out there, I've heard stories of people who had this earth-shattering story, like maybe rags to riches, right? I thought about this when I was doing this masterclass the other day, and asked them, how many of you feel like your story is not worth sharing? Like there's nothing that great about it. I live in a normal life, middle-class family, grew up, like nothing crazy. I had 2 parents, I had siblings, I had friends, went to school, got to go to college. Nothing is earth-shattering, as opposed to some people that are like, oh my gosh, I was a drug addict and I was living out of the dumpster, and then all of a sudden I had a, come to Jesus moment, and this happened and now like I'm making millions of dollars, right? Like, that's not most people's stories. And I think, and even me at one point, I thought like, oh my gosh, my story is not nearly as like life-changing as that story. So what's my story worth to other people? And thought for a split second, my story wasn't worth sharing because it wasn't something that was crazy transformational. And that is just a lie and a story that I told myself in my head. Thank goodness it went in and it popped right back out. And I was able to do that and not dwell on it too long. The reality is most people don't have those stories. Most people aren't that incredibly like rags to riches story. And so the truth is that most people can't really relate. It sounds really inspirational and you're like, yes, go. But you're like, that's not really my life. And so I want to encourage you to continue to share your story, even the little pieces of your story that you think might not matter, because those little pieces are relatable to most other people. And that's how you'll build that deep connection with someone. And online, that's how you build connections, by sharing your story, letting them see more of who you are, being open to being you as you are. Okay, that's what authenticity is. You hear that word floating around, to be authentic. What does it mean to be authentic? It just means to be you and to share you. And that's how you build connections with people that you're meant to build connections with people that will fit perfectly in your community. Okay, so today, short and sweet, I just want to encourage you to, in all the things that you do, share your story. Share what your past looked like. Dream with other people, even what you want your future to look like. Okay, set the example for other people. You want them to dream big and have that vision and take action to get there. Show them you're doing that as well. And use your story to stand out from other people, to connect with other people. Okay, that's it. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you feel inspired to share a little bit more of your story, whether you're hopping on your social stories, sharing a little tiny nugget, or you're blending it into your social post, or you're hopping on your podcast and you share a story as you're sharing the message or the lesson, or writing it into your blog post. I hope you are inspired. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you got some value out of this episode, I would love some support. And the best way to do that, so I can keep showering you with loads of actionable tips, is to hit that subscribe button. Leave a review or a comment if you're on YouTube, and share this podcast with a friend. And when you share it with a friend on social, please tag me so I can reshare your share in my stories. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out. I appreciate the heck out of you for showing up. And now it's time for you to take imperfect action so you can work less and enjoy and earn a whole lot more.